Welcome to Know Your Universe, where I basically just let you know about things that you might find interesting. Today we're going to talk about all of those crazy Hulks, because there are a lot of Hulks. Well, there were, but as of one of the runs of Hulk, they've all been changed back into normal, making him the only Hulk. Now before we begin, I'm going to let you know we're not going crazy in depth into any of them because simply each of these Hulks could be a video all by itself. What we're going to do here is just let you know who each and every one of them are, and there's no multiverses on this list either. Starting from the top, we have the cream of the crop, Bruce Banner himself. He started the entire family. A bomb went off, bombarding him with gamma radiation, turning him into the Incredible Hulk. Then he went through many incarnations. Sometimes he was permanently the Hulk, sometimes there was no Hulk. Sometimes he was smart, sometimes he was super dumb, sometimes he was fighting internally, and sometimes they were working together. Heck, sometimes they're the same person, and sometimes the Hulk was a completely different person living inside of Banner. The Hulk is a great idea, but each writer likes to put his own spin on the superhero. Even the movies and the cartoons have different takes on him. But in the end, whether he's Hulk, Clue, Doc Green, or Maestro, he's the start of the entire family of Hulks, and he knows how to smash! She-Hulk is Jennifer Walters, and she is the cousin of Bruce Banner. Due to an injury that she sustained, she needed a blood transfusion. Now this blood came from her cousin Bruce, which transferred his Hulk situation to her. But it was a milder version, allowing her to basically stay herself while in Hulk form. So mild-mannered Jennifer Walters, the lawyer, can just Hulk up and gain some green skin and extra strength. Just like her cousin, she is able to get stronger by getting madder, and she gets to keep her intelligence. Later in the storyline of She-Hulk, she even remains She-Hulk permanently. Just like her famous cousin Bruce, she's had her stories changed around depending on what writers wanted to do with her, from breaking the fourth wall to even gaining the ability to swap powers with other human women. She almost always goes back to just being big, green, and intelligent, placing her on many teams within the Marvel Universe. Rick Jones is next, and he is known as A-Bomb. Basically, he was captured during World War Hulk by a group that MODOK was controlling, and he was experimented on. What they did to him was give him Abomination's blood, hoping to turn him into a secret weapon, but they learned that he couldn't be controlled, so basically they just made another gamma-powered monster. They gave him a mind control trigger, which was kill Bruce Banner, which led to Banner figuring out a way to get rid of that trigger. In the end, A-Bomb joined up with various teams and helped out around the Marvel Universe. Red Hulk is a large fan favorite simply because of the way he was introduced. You see, he was a mystery to everyone in the universe and the readers themselves. When he first came on the scene, no one knew who he was, and he just kept showing up and tried to mess with the Hulk. The idea behind him was to have a tactically intelligent enemy of the Hulks. His whole thing was that he hated superheroes and the villains of the world, and he went around killing some of them like Wendigo and Abomination. He then fought against various superheroes in the world while people tried to figure out who he really was. It was eventually revealed that he was Thunderbolt T. Ross, one of the Hulk's oldest adversaries. Once his identity was discovered, he began to calm down a little, even joining up with one of Steve Rogers' Avengers groups. He's a little different from the Hulk as he gets his powers from energy absorption, and he can even fire heat beams out of his eyes. Another notable difference is that he doesn't get stronger with anger, he actually gets hotter, as in his body temperature rises. It'll eventually get hot enough to turn sand into glass, and he can't properly regulate it, meaning that's one of his severe weaknesses, because as he gets super hot, his body can't regulate that himself. Skaar, the son of Hulk, is just that. He is the Hulk's son. When the Hulk was launched into space, he landed on a planet where he helped the oppressed people. This led to him meeting his wife and them conceiving a child. But due to an explosion, his wife was killed and he returned to Earth to make them answer for everything. What he didn't know was at the time that his son had survived in a cocoon, and once it hatched, we had Skaar. Skaar becomes a killer and eventually decides that he's going to go to Earth to kill his father, and they fight it out. But Skaar realizes that the Hulk that he's fighting isn't the War Hulk from his planet, and he ends up saving people instead. Following that, he redeems himself and he becomes a hero. Savage She-Hulk Lyra is yet another child of the Hulks. She is from a future where she is in charge of the United Sisterhood Republic, but since she is the only woman who actually had a father, she isn't trusted because she has male genetics inside of her. Once the United Sisterhood Republic's birthing machine malfunctioned, she was tasked with going back in time to try and save her civilization by killing the greatest warrior of that time. While Sentry eventually arrived thinking that she was referring to him, she actually meant Norman Osborn, because of the time that she came back to, it was Dark Reign, and the world thought that Norman Osborn was a hero. While she is Banner's daughter, in the present day he knows nothing about her and thus has no real connection with her. When she traveled with him to try and make a connection, it didn't really work out. Red She-Hulk is another of the red variety. This is actually Betty Ross. You see, after she was presumed dead, she was resurrected by the leader and MODOK by the urgings of Thunderbolt T. Ross, the Red Hulk. She was changed into a Red Hulk just like her father, but then the group tried to brainwash her to make her into a very aggressive villain. She fought against the Hulk until she was mortally wounded and changed back into Betty, where she explains everything to Banner and she asks to die as normal Betty Ross. But then the people who brainwashed her arrived and she gets mad again, changing back into Red She-Hulk, but without the brainwashing and kind of all healed up from the stabbing. Thus, she became an anti-hero of sorts. The Gamma Corps is a group of individuals powered by the Hulk's blood after it was retrieved by the military when Wolverine cut him. These guys can kind of Hulk out, and they are used to try and stop the Hulk. The team is made up of people that he hurt in some way or another, and that's basically it. They honestly aren't that interesting, and they get removed pretty quickly. Abomination is a villain that was exposed to gamma radiation and became the villain known as Abomination. He retains his intelligence and he gains gills, allowing him to swim underwater when he turns. He's one of the primary old-timey villains of the Hulk. And we also have Team Abomination, a kid who gets exposed to gamma radiation and becomes a teenage version of Abomination. He blames Tony Stark for his change and he fights the superior Iron Man until Iron Man agrees to try and help him. Totally Awesome Hulk is the latest Hulk to be added into this family of Hulks. It's Amadeus Cho, and he took on the power of the Hulk from Banner when Banner absorbed some kind of weird radiation and couldn't get rid of it. Cho came up with the idea to allow him to transfer the Hulk powers to Cho and therefore get rid of that energy that he couldn't disperse. It worked, and it turned Cho into a frat boy version of the Hulk. And those are the immediate family members of the Hulk. Now keep in mind, there are obscure storylines and timelines out there in which individuals have been turned into Hulks. I know in Secret Wars we had an entire planet of Hulks, but we are focusing on the main storyline characters, the main family members, and no multiversal weirdness, okay? Let me know who your favorite Hulk is in the comments down below, and don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Comicstorian and Instagram at Comicstorian, and I'll see you guys next time right here.